18th of the month of November. I know you must have had quite a busy weekend. Others could have gone for football. For those who made it, I want to say congratulations. Meanwhile, for those whose teams never made it, still we are saying continue praying, because over the weekend, I do understand we had a number of games. Of course, I will be breaking down on some of those games later on. And so many activities already happened, and I was able to see a lot of noise within the city. That was already where we were seeing people going for fundraising, and that also discussion will be coming on later on. I will be letting you know maybe where this also was happening, but many people are taken up by surprise. Many actually did not know what was happening, and that is actually something which I will also be telling you later on. But first things first, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you on board from wherever you're watching us from. I want to say you are most welcome for the first edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show for this week, this 18th day of the month of November. The year still remains 2024. We shall be discussing all this with you up to 9 o'clock, where so many issues also will be unfolding here, and I really want to start off the discussions with also what's happening, where over the weekend we also had news about police stopping the NUP mobilization exercise from going on. Is another story which I really want to start off with our discussion straight away to let you know of also what is happening in here. But according to police, also they did suspend this following also really some of those regulations that we are not respected. Now police have also again ordered the suspension of the National Unity Platform Party ongoing counter mobilization tours, alleging that also the party has violated previously agreed upon guidelines, and that is the reason as to why police wouldn't also want to see this going on. And in November 15th, letter addressed to NUP Secretary General, that is the spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner of Police, that is what we did see also, Chituma Rusoke, stated the decision was also already made to preserve public order, and that is actually one reason we were able to see police also give as a factor for stopping this mass mobilization of the National Unity Platform Party from going on in there, and that is actually something which we did see. And according to a letter which we did see, police have also engaged in multiple meetings with NUP officials, that is to establish guidelines for conducting the tours, of course, which maybe the party not respecting that. Now the police also explained that these guidelines were designed to ensure NUP also activities respect the rule of law, public order, and the rights of citizens, and that is actually what we did see. Could it be that the NUP did not respect all this? That is another story which I feel police should come out and also explain to the masses about as a factor for stopping this mass mobilization in there. But that is what police did say, and they said also NUP has reneged also on the agreed also points with the recent events in Buikwe district on November 14th of November 2024, and cited evidence as also really a factor which also couldn't allow the exercise go on in there. And that's where NUP Secretary General Lewis Rubongoya commented the police decision, describing it as another act of suppression against the opposition also the party's peaceful activities. And Rubongoya added that NUP also has consistently adhered to the guidelines set by police when events are also going on in a fair manner in there. And that is exactly what we did see, where Rubongoya listed the specific restrictions that NUP complied with, also such as using long indirect routes instead of also really shortcuts and highways in there, and that is exactly what we did see. And National Unity Platform Party actually came out also really said that they have been respecting these guidelines. And then what happened? Could it be maybe other restrictions were followed and others were also left out? That is exactly what we did see, and we are waiting to see how this, of course, will be going on. Remember, in their plans, one of the districts actually they were to visit in West Nile sub-region is Madiokolo district, and this is actually where we were able to sort of want to see this happening. But now the exercise has been suspended. That means for those in the region, you will have to wait longer until this also is approved again. And that is what we did see also really the NUP also really responding on. And they criticized police for what they call double standards, claiming that other political actors, particularly those also really associated with also really with also government, continue to hold public activities, including processions and also with interference. But for them, they feel they are unfairly treated, and that is exactly as to why we shall be seeing now police decision to halt NUP's mobilization tours at the growing tension between opposition parties and the security agencies in Uganda. And now the NUP, also led by Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, commonly known as Bobby Wine, has repeatedly accused authorities of stifling political activities and curtailing democratic freedoms, while the government maintains the measures that will be necessary also to ensure public order and safety And now NUP leaders have vowed and also say they will be continuing to move on with this. And now they also did say that also they will be also doing that. Now NUP leaders, led by the principal, that is Robert Chagwa Sentamu, have also been on country tour, visiting places like Soroti, Buikwe, and we are now planning to also head to Nakasongola, among other places. And in each of these, Chagulani and his team has received huge crowds, but have not happened also that is also without security interference, and that is exactly what we have been seeing over time. But this also leaves me with a question: how shall we be able to see this also without any interference from taking place? Because many of the time people have been having these issues, and others feel their political parties, most especially those they are associated with, have unfairly been treated. And could that be the right also issue? Could that be the right also decision? Definitely, I do not know, but I wouldn't also want to delve much into that discussion. But I really want to assure you that is exactly what we did see happening in there, and we shall be continuing to also let you know if at all police will be allowing this go on again. But for now, we have seen it being bad, and they will be putting them on halt until also an agreement is again reached, and that is the agreement we shall be following, and we shall be coming back to let you know of on the show here. My name is Farish Majid. In case you're just joining us right now, and in case you are joining us for the very first time, you are most welcome. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, channel 477. So on StarTimes, we are as well there on Zuku on channel 0073. Not forgetting Azam on channel number 369, where you will be in position to watch us each and every mornings. And for you who is also really planning to move away, do not be worried, because you can be able to watch us anytime, anywhere, in any part of the world, online across all social media platforms, where we are there on YouTube, on West Nile Television. We are as well on Facebook, on Still the Same, and you will be in position to watch us each and every time you feel like you need to do, and that is actually where we shall be giving information about what's happening right away from the region. We go international, and also really summarizing the discussions, we always give you some of the highlights of what continue to make rounds in the world of sport. And that is actually why we are always here. But first thing also, I wouldn't also want to stop with, as we plan also to head for a short commercial break in the next 5 minutes, is that we still have a lot to discuss with you here as we continue to move on. And remember, as we are moving on, there has been a growing also a rift between the leader of opposition parliament, that is Joel Senyui, and also the Speaker of Parliament, that is the Right Honorable Anita Among. And this has actually been in there. But now many people have been asking what exactly could have caused this, because we are seeing the rift deepening, and really without also any solution. But nothing best also captures the fractured relationship that is between Speaker of Parliament, that's Right Honorable Anita Among, and the House Leader of Opposition Parliament, that is Honorable Joel Senyui, who is also one of also the former journalists, and really now we also seeing that also going on. But that has also been in there because many of the times people have been able to observe this. But how does this also really mean? And what does it mean when it comes to service delivery? Because if you look at the fight, also the disagreements between the Leader of Opposition Parliament and the Speaker of Parliament, definitely these are key positions. And I really want to say these are positions that play a vital role, and if they continue to also be like that, then definitely there will be, in one way or the other, also a factor that will also be also affecting this. Now, the Leader of Opposition Parliament had captured the imagination of the Ugandan public between August and September 2022, and that was while when chairing the House Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, he signed also the spotlight on the litany of misdeeds at Uganda's flag carriers. And we did see also Speaker Among in January 2023 ordered the consensus final body of work be shelved, and the Speaker was tasked in intensifying her decision, and that is actually where somebody who didn't also go unnoticed when it comes to observing the growing rift between, that is the Speaker of Parliament, who leads the House, and the Leader of Opposition Parliament, who actually leads the whole opposition groups. And recently there was a decision actually to amend this, but of course most of the legislators actually did also really reject this, because under the current law it is the main opposition group in Parliament to actually appoint a leader. It is actually from them. But there was a decision also that was also pushed. That was during the Gulu sittings, where one of the legislators actually came up with also a call to have this position be elective, where all the opposition groups be involved. And that is exactly what was rejected, and we are still following up on that, where one of the legislators, in the names of Lumu, actually proposed that. And it remained as a proposal. We are still following up, and decision has not yet been reached. But as far as I am concerned, I know it has been rejected by most of the legislators. None of them also, most of them have not actually supported that. And that leaves us also with the question, because there was an opinion question that was asked yesterday on the monitor that was really asking among the speakers of parliament, that is starting off with Edward Sekandi, moving to Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, and that is also really Right Honorable Anita Among, who has been the fairest. That was the decision that was asked amongst also the three here, and that was where we did see last week Miss Anita Among's name was also etched into the books of history in Uganda, also the parliament democracy, as yet another speaker of parliament under whose tenure security forces stormed parliament ahead of what was meant to be a crucial debate or a discussion, because this is coming up also following the recent also fight that was witnessed in parliament, where people were unknown, who were known in qualified, or what we call also uniform security also operatives. We are still storming parliament, because if you look at also these men, none of them was wearing a security uniform which maybe you would say this is from this force, because in Uganda we know our forces. If it is UPDF, we know this is a person attached to UPDF. Even if the department is different, we shall still be knowing that this is attached to UPDF under this department. If it's police, we shall be knowing this is from police, either from this department or that. If it's from prisons, still, we know this is from prisons. But what happened in parliament, men were also in plain uniforms. They were in their plain attire, and they stormed parliament. And these were actually people believed to be operative security. And that left many people with questions. And that was where we did see parliament plunged in darkness as plain cloth security personnel grabbed sections of opposition legislators who had also violently also opposed to the passing of the National Coffee Amendment Bill of 2004. And this is the second time under also the rule of NRM. That also is happening, and that is exactly something that did not leave many people also happy about. But the question is, what causes this, and what can we do to also stop the issues of plain cloth men stopping parliament? Because the parliament chambers are not meant to be accessed by everyone, unless otherwise. But if at all we couldn't see this, where does this leave us when it comes to our democracy? With that, we leave that question entirely in your hands. You can be able to share your thoughts with us, your opinions on who amongst these legislators to you was a bit fair. That is where we are stopping for with also the discussions as per now. When we return back, we shall be continuing from there. My name is Faresh Majid.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions, and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back into the second half of the first hour, and this is still the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. With me, Farish Majid. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you back from that short commercial break. And in case you are just joining us right now, I also really want to extend the same to you and say welcome aboard. And this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show. In case you are watching us for your very first time, we do not take it for granted. We want to welcome you on board to the KOKOLIRIKO family, where we give you discussions in relation to what's happening in the world of politics, where we touch also what continues to make rounds in the current affairs corridor, where we also summarize the discussions, as always, with what is happening in the world of sports, because as the KOKOLIRIKO live show, we do not leave anything out. We are discussing each and everything, so long as it has an impact on you, and also really you also really attached by it. That is actually where we also really share our thoughts and share our discussions with. But first things first, we are back. I want to welcome you in a special way. And earlier on, we were discussing about also really the kind of also tensions amongst the members of parliament, most especially those under opposition in the ruling. And a question was also really asked, who among the speakers of also the parliament in the last also really editions do you think was fair enough, or whose tenure was very, very much moderate and fair? You can be able to share your thoughts and the reasons as to why you have selected the particular also really maybe the heads of parliament, maybe heads of the parliament, because these are the people in the parliament, and that is actually where you will be sharing your thoughts and also really share your opinions. Definitely we'll be going through it later on. For those of you who are watching us via those online, also maybe the decoders, you can rush out to social media and use those handles to drop your questions, and I will be in position to sort of still go through them later on. But as we begin off this hour of the morning, on a sad note, we did see also a mother and a daughter electrocuted, and the blame was put on Meme as also really of negligence in there. And that is exactly what we did see, where residents of Budulis zone, that's in Abigulu sub-county in Kamuli district, that's in the eastern part of this country, have accused the electricity distribution company, that is Umeme, of negligence after a 52-year-old mother and her 25-year-old daughter died after being shocked by dangling electric wires. And with the rains, this is actually a risk which I would also want to encourage many people to interest themselves in, because if you look at the issues of electricity with the winds, many of the times already a wire may be thrown down. But that is actually what we need to also be very, very much serious on, and just that how we have lost these Ugandans, it may be next to you. So let's also encourage also to also avoid also the issues of also what we call destruction of these electric materials. And now Tapenesi Chialiki Kazibira, a wife that is also to Buduli zone chairperson, that's Miss Grace Kazibira, was electrocuted also as she tried to also hang a cloth on also the cloth line adjacent to an insulated electric wire. And Manjeri Nabiru, who rushed to also her mother's rescue, also end up being electrocuted. And that is exactly what we didn't see. It means also really for us something of that sort is happening, we should also really rush very, very much also serious to also do that. Now they died also both on spot, and that is according to police. And Soga North police spokesperson, that is Mr. Michael Kasada, has said preliminary investigations that suggest that Kazibira was also washing her clothes and hanging them also on a cloth line, also near, that is an insulated electrical wire. Also that was coming into contact with it, and Nabire was electrocuted as she tried to rescue her mother, who was also lying down struggling for her life. And that is exactly what we did see, and we also must also be able to sensitize the people about such accidents, because if at all you definitely do not know what to do, then you are going to be rushing and also die also just like that. And that is what also really tragic is that happened. And this is really where we also really want to also really ask our people to be very much vigilant on also on some of those issues of the electrical wires, because many times if people don't catch the wires, they step on them, and that is how risky it is, because at the end of the day we have seen people dying. Really this concern also should also be to everyone, where we must also interest ourselves in that. Now Mr. Richard Kalisa, a neighbor that is to the affected family, also did also attribute the tragedy to Meme's negligence and slow response despite numerous complaints reported to them by residents. That is also in relation to these also distracted wires, and that is really something which I want to say shouldn't also really be able to also cause more deaths in future. And really, if at all the company is called, we must take the initiative and move up the offices of these companies. And this is not only to also remember alone, it should be able to go to all the companies that are distributing this electricity in Western Sub-Region. We are privileged, we do have KOKOLIRIKO. If there's any challenge, they have told the free lines, let's call them, let's rush out to them. If at all that they're delaying, please, let's move the offices as residents, because we cannot afford to lose lives in tragedies like this. And that is where, at the end of the day, we are going to solely be able to solely blame the company. Mr. Tito Butwaula, the local council 3 chairperson, that is of Nabigulu sub-county, implored the government to extend support to the bereaved family, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there, where the bodies were taken to Kamuli General Hospital. That's a postmortem. And Kazivira and her daughter's death is not also an isolated case, where several Ugandans have over the years been electrocuted under similar circumstances. And this is exactly what we are seeing happening. And we hope at the right time also really responses will be coming from those companies in relation to what could have gone wrong and why they delayed also to take the delay to also have these electric also issues be fixed. Because it's really unfair for us to be seeing also really people die as a result of being electrocuted. And that is exactly what we are going to be also leaving a discussion aside with. But you can share your thoughts and opinions on how we can be able to solely avoid such deaths under such circumstances, because it is clear this is not the very first time we are seeing this happening. Many of the times this has happened. And how can we interest ourselves in wanting to solely see that this does not happen again? Because if you look at all this, definitely you realize that solely it is really a painful death. Just imagine being also pronounced dead as a result of electricity, and that is how dangerous and how painful it is. As we're talking about accidents, this is also another accident we must also be able to interest ourselves and sensitize the locals about. If you see those electric wires hanging, please reach out to the nearest authorities. The S1 chairperson is actually the nearest person who has contacts, whom I believe has the contacts to all those offices to also come to your rescue, because many of times we have seen with the wind, electric poles falling, and the responses are always long, and they always take long, and that is exactly what we feel could have also been as a source of danger to people's lives. But that is exactly what we also seeing happening, and we hope when the right time comes, people also will be avoided from dying under such circumstances. And leaving that discussion aside, speak among dear Congo leaders, discuss regional trade security, and that is also something which we are seeing. And recently, a team of leaders from DRC's Ituri province, that is in the areas also along Aru territory, we are in Arua city for a meeting with leaders from Western districts of Maracha, Arua city, and Arua district solely for 2 days, where they also reached out an agreement that is to end what we call issues also that have been hampering trade in relation to the two countries. Because if you look at the two countries, these countries have been having issues when it comes to trade and security, where we have criminals who commit crime that side, sneak here, vice versa. We have criminals who also do here and sneak that side. And recently we did see also the meeting between the counterparts also of Aru province, led by their commissioner, and also the resident city commissioner of Arua city, Salim Kumaket, something which I want to say ended very well. And I was actually part of also that meeting, where a lot of issues also came out, and I really want to say it is exactly what we want to see also really happening in the country, India. And that is actually now what we didn't see at the regional level, because if you look at also according to one of those agreements that was reached out between President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his then counterpart, that is Joseph Kabila, what we call also one of the arguments, that is where we did see also it being reached at, that also these countries can be able to also deliberate their issues at local levels. And that is exactly what we have been pushing out for, because if there's a crime that was being committed also by a leader just along Aru borders, we do not expect this matter to be discussed in Kampala. We do not expect this matter to be discussed in Kinshasa, rather also it being discussed locally within also the powers in there. And that is the beauty of also that agreement in there. Now the Speaker of Parliament, that is Right Honorable Anita Among, was in talks with members of Parliament from the Democratic Republic of Congo, whom she hosted in Kampala earlier this week, and that was where we did see regional security and commerce topped the agenda for the November 15th meeting, that was last week, where the speaker, that is Right Honorable Anita Mong, said security is crucial in enabling integration and growing trade portfolio between the two countries, which is currently being undermined by instances of also really terrorist attacks in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. And if you look at the issues of the insecurity, you will read the rebel groups, also really commonly known as the ADF, have been terrorizing the eastern part of the Congo. But we hope also really at one time this would be history, because we want to see how our people, of course, will be moving on with their trade without necessarily being affected by also issues of insecurity, because if we have insecurity, then definitely that is how at the end of the day we are going to be seeing also people losing monies, people are going to be losing employment, and at the end of the day it's the government to actually lose revenue, because if at all this were being taxed, the money goes into the governments, where today if they're exiting the border points, there's money being paid. If they're entering another border point, usually there's something small paid, and that is exactly what we did see also happening in there. But we hope at the right time also something also will be also really happening in there, and that is exactly what we have been praying out for. We hope at the end of the day that this issue also will be reached out. And amongst team also really included the Minister of State for Sports, Peter Gwang. We do have the Clerk to Parliament, that's Adolphe Mwesje, who were also in this meeting, in attendance of this meeting. And we hope at the end of the day the discussions that come out from this meeting also will be fruitful. And we want to see how this, of course, will be ending. We want to see the issues of insecurity, most especially across the borders, be ended. And then the issues of paying money to the chiefs, because in DRC that issue actually very much featured. And the business community of the West Delta region who attended this meeting actually raised these issues. That as you enter in DRC, you are required to pay money in all the chiefdoms you enter through, and yet some of these chiefdoms are the same. If you look at the Acha, the Lugbara and the Acha people are actually the same people, and the language being spoken in here can't be understood by a Lugbara also from DRC, and this is actually where I want to say such meetings are very much good, and we must also really be able to not leave these matters on discussion or on paper, but rather implementation is key, where we have to put those matters that we are going to be discussing out of this meeting into practice. And that is the way to go, and that is how at the end of the day we shall be seeing those issues. First of all, those accusations of this and that be ending, because many of the times we have seen these countries being suspicious of one another, and this is how at the end of the day trade is going to be also improved. If you look at DRC, today we have a number of traders coming in from that side, and today we have a number of Ugandan traders who are also doing trade in the DRC, and that is how beautiful such meetings are always important of. And we hope at the end of the day that this also really will be bringing something tangible on table, where our Ugandan citizens, where our DRC counterparts also will be benefiting as well, because if you look at Uganda, DRC stressed the issues of revenue and how they are being taxed, and that is exactly what we hope at the end of the day will be ending in there. Then the issues of harboring these criminals, also that those accusations, those suspicious accusations, with such meetings, I believe, will not also go on in there as we get to move on. Now, the head of the DRS delegation, that is Lambert Mande, expressed confidence in the strong bilateral relations between the two countries, saying Parliament should be the focal point for bolstering, that is also the cooperation, and that is exactly what we are hoping out for. And an ending conflict that's in the largest East African country, said Mande, requires urgent attention, as it imposes a severe hardship on the communities living in the neighborhood. And that is exactly what's happening, because if we are told we have issues in our neighborhood, definitely we are not going to be saying that that is only for our neighbors, because many of times we have seen this happening, where an insecurity or a threat happening in DRC is a threat to Uganda, because let's look at the issues of the peace. If at all something is happening in DRC, people are going to be running into Uganda, and then the Ugandans who would wish to go there will not go. And that is how we are going to be seeing ourselves being affected. And that is why we are saying it is actually important for us to be looking at this security as key and crucial for all the countries of East Africa, because today what happens in DRC, as well as also has a negative or a positive implication on what exactly is to happen in Uganda. And that is how we are also going to be seeing that happening, and we hope such issues will not also really go on in the country anymore, because we want to see how this, of course, will be ending And that is where we are living with a discussion as we get to move on. And many also discussion will be coming also later on. And in the next 10 remaining minutes, I would also want to touch on some of the discussion where we did see yesterday a number of people also were brought together. That was at Ojulua Cell, which is under Pagisha Ward in Central Division, to mobilize funds for the church also that is being established in there. And we did see the area member of parliament, Atima Buti Jackson Lee, together with his crew. And we did see him be joined by one of the first family members, that is Toyota, who also was part of this group and also extended support. That is exactly what we want to see, because many people were asking themselves what was happening. Others didn't actually know what was happening. But I really want to say it was actually to mobilize also support. For the church that has reached actually the roof level, it means that community members have done their part. It is high time that we extend also the hand to this group, and that is exactly what we did see happening in yesterday, where a number of leaders actually were able to also be part of this group, where they extended support also worth millions and millions. That is also to this group, also the church that is actually been in there. And we hope the work also will be resuming as soon as possible. One of these days I will pass in there to see how, of course, this will be also starting, because now they have been empowered financially, because that area that is subscribed and that is Christ the King Chapel, that is actually what we are hoping out for. Because if you look at that church also, it is under Christ the King Parish. And that is exactly what we are going to be following up on. And we hope also by the time this church is done, the Christian community around those areas will be also benefiting from there. Because if you look at along the areas, many people also go to Chiba, others will move in there. But this church will be hosting also those Christian community that is in the areas of Olwodri, which is actually in the neighborhood. We have the areas of Ibia still. Those Christians will just be sloping in down there. And then other areas that surround also really the area of Ojulua Cell also really will be taking advantage of also this church in there. And want to wish all the ones who dominated the very best. We thank them so much, because many of times if at all a call is made like this, because it's a godly call, which I also want to say is where we must always support and also extend our hands to. And the beauty of all those that also supported. You are building a house of God, because many of times, usually we say, building a house of the God is just like building a house in heaven, as Muslims have that belief. And that is why today we are having a number of fundraising also for mosques as well. And that is where in Mariokolo, in one of the areas, there's a donation also going on where people can still be able to extend hands. And the beauty actually of such donations is that it's not only limited to a particular religion, as yesterday witnessed, where we were able to see Muslim community also extending the hand as well. And that is exactly how beautiful it is. And we hope also at the end of the day that this also will be yielding the fruits. And leaving that discussion aside, Tayeba drums support for women entrepreneurs. And today if you look at also the number of women entrepreneurs, these actually people are supporting their homesteads. They are doing a tremendous job in terms of also bringing their families. Today we have mothers who are the ones buying food at home. We have mothers who are the ones paying school fees. That is how beautiful it is, and that is how the beauty of women emancipation is actually very much important. Because if you look at women emancipation, it's actually key, and that is why today the government of Uganda, under the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is actually focusing towards solely giving support to the women. And that is why today most of the women are under the parish development model, struggling to receive the funds, where others also really are still said to be fighting for this. And we hope each and every woman out there wouldn't also be left out. We expect everyone, most especially the vulnerable community members, to benefit under a parish development model. And that is why the GROW project is as well as coming also to support them in. And that is where now we are seeing also the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has called for increased support for women entrepreneurs, citing evidence that they excel in savings. And that is actually what we did see. And he made the call on Friday, November 15th, during also a high-level policy dialogue that's on childcare and women entrepreneurship. That's at Motive in Bugolobi, that is off Port Bell Road. And speaking, that was speaking on Friday, Tayebwa also shared the success story of rural savings and creative cooperative organization, abbreviated SACCOs. He also co-founded, and he has managed to thrive and expand also rapidly despite the absence of government support. And that is actually why he did ask also the government to come up and support also these women. Today, women are actually very much also really serious when it comes to aspects of savings more than men, and I believe it's because men also have a lot of responsibilities. As a man, it's not being easy where you have a number of responsibilities, just like also the women. But for the women, I believe it's not as much as how the men do it. But with this start happening, where the Deputy Speaker of Parliament actually acknowledged that women are very crucial in terms of savings, and they are very serious with that, and that is why government must also be able to also extend support to them. And he actually did also talk about that, and they said saving grow is also what we did see him also talking about, and taking stock of this fact, and also we did see emphasize that it was the driving force behind his relentless push to secure passage of generating growth opportunities productive for women entrepreneurs grow project in Parliament, and that is actually what we did see many posts, most especially those women in business, be targeted under this project. And we did see Deputy Speaker of Parliament actually saying that he was also able to push out for this because of the fact that most women are very serious with savings. And today, if you look at the Grow project, let me also just give you a brief hint about it. It is actually a project that is targeting women in business, most especially those women who are entrepreneurs. But as we are getting to move on with this discussion, and also as we talk about this Grow project, it's actually targeting those women who have established their business, what we call formal businesses, who will be borrowing these funds, and this is also what we call money that also they will be returning back at small interest rates, and this money also is coming out from the European government, and it is a loan, which I want to say you will be also returning back also after borrowing in there, and it being a grant that was extended to the Ugandan government. Definitely you will be also returning also to the government of Uganda at small interest rates, and that is what we are seeing. And one of the key components of the Grow program is that also it's a loan facility designed to empower women. That's by offering affordable loans to help them scale their businesses from small to medium and to large enterprises, where women can actually borrow huge sums of money. And loan amounts also range from 4 million to 200 million, with a competitive annual rate that is of 10.5%. However, Cabinet also has proposed reducing this as to a flat rate of 10% and to exempt also from additional fees such as processing and legal costs, as also we did see further Parliament also making that call in there. Now the funds are also currently available through several banks also and financial institutions, including at DFCU, Posta Bank, Finance Trust. We do have Equity and Centenary Bank, where these women also can still be able to borrow this money. And to date, also shilling 23 billion has been dispersed to 1,397 women entrepreneurs across the country, and the total resource envelope for the program is 260 billion, and that is where we shall be seeing a lot of women borrowing from these funds. And the conditions are quite simple. Your business must be formal, and when you talk about formal, it must be registered, and the business that is being known also in a particular area, one that has paid taxes, because not everyone is going to be borrowing this money. And I really want to assure you that not every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to be also securing this money, even if you are also really going to apply. But so long as you not also qualify for it, there's no way you're going to be getting this. And that means you must make sure that your business is formal. And the records must be clear, because these are things that are going to be asked. And at the end of the day, the location is very, very much key. And I really want to say for those in Western sub-region, you actually are the benefit of benefiting from these monies, because it is actually one that targets, first of all, the refugees, and targets also the women entrepreneurs in the rural and what we call refugee hosting districts. And that also really tells us that as West Nile districts, we are also really at the verge and the opportunity of benefiting from this money. And we must interest ourselves in wanting to also really make sure we benefit from this money. And it's quite simple. If you need more information about these monies, you can actually move to the nearest also the authority, that is the parish chiefs, who are the ones who can be able to give you this information, and then the commercial officers who have this information, and they will be sharing this with you, and that will at the end of the day enable you determine whether you qualify or not for these funds, because at the end of the day we are saying, if at all your business is small, how do you grow it? Because many of the time the businesses remain stagnated just because of the issues of capital, and now that the capital is coming on board, you must interest yourself in wanting to also grow your business from that small step to a middle income, and then to a middle status, to at least a bigger instead, because we want to see these businesses grow. Because we know the bigger the businesses grow, the more opportunities that it creates. Because if you look at a bigger business opportunity, more businesses are created, both directly and indirectly. And that is where, at the end of the day, the issues of unemployment are going to be reduced in this country. And as also the government of Uganda, that is where our issue has been. And we hope at the end of the day That is how we shall be seeing the rate of unemployment in Uganda reduce. And with that, we are coming to the end of the first hour, and when we turn back, we shall be also entering our second hour that starts from 8 to 9 o'clock. But first things first, we are going to be running a short commercial break. When we return back, we shall be continuing with the discussions from there. My name is Farish Majid. It's a Monday. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Look out for StarTimes Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTimes S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTimes S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTimes subscription. StarTimes Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back. We are 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. This is the second hour of the show with me, Farish Majid. And in case you are joining us right now, you have to wake up, and in case you are still in bed watching us via your phone or via the television, I want to say the sun is already up. The cock crow did go earlier on. That means we are already into a new day and a new week as well. It is high time that you also really move out of the comfort of your bed and move out to start struggling to make ends meet, because at the end of the day you need something to survive on, and that is actually why you must leave that bed. And remember the saying always, that is the first bird that catches the fly, and you must therefore make sure that you are among the first workers that also really reach your different places of hustle, and to make sure that you also really get something small at the end of the day. For those of you who are also really employed in offices, it's high time that you move in those offices as early as this morning. And then for the street people, also I want to say it is actually high time that you also really move onto those streets and start also really making ends meet, because at the end of the day, this actually could be the time that you will also really be in position to sort of benefit something also really at the end of the day, and that is where we are going to also really be able to sort of see you also succeed in making sure that you get whatever you want to achieve also in life in there. That is where we are leaving that discussion, and also starting off our second hour. Museveni launches 4-acre model campaign in Chibale. Is another story we are seeing where President His Excellency Kaguta Museveni was in Chibale also on the November 15th, that was on Friday, to launch the 4-acre model, a modern type of farming campaign that is in Greater Chibale districts. And that is where we see the district of Greater Chibale, comprised of districts of, that is Kakumi, Kagadi and Chibale itself, and that is where we did see the President, His Excellency Kaguta Museveni, launching also the campaign which aims at empowering farmers across the Greater Chibale district, and the initiative seeks to extend support that is to the best farmers and to the best farming practices, and to the farmers that is in the districts of Kakumiro, Kagadi, and Kibale itself. And that is where we did see that happening. And the launch also of the event took place at Kikwaya Primary School Playground, that was in Kakumiro district, and launching also the campaign. President Museveni asked the people of Greater Kibale to also embrace the 4-acre model to stabilize also their household incomes, and that is exactly what we did see. And we hope at the end of the day that this also will be bringing also the tangible also the benefit of what is expected. Now the President further informed the locals that he had started also preaching the gospel of wealth creation way back in the 60s, and also up to now he is still doing the same. And really that also leaves us with the question, and how have you taken the message now since also 1960s, if at all he has been talking about also this? And then what have you done to yourself with the message also that he has been able to also extend to you? Have you also utilized it very well? That is the question you should be asking yourself, and nobody else is going to be asking that question. And he said under his guidance, he has helped a good number of Ugandans in wealth creation, citing an example of the people in the cattle corridor that is who listened to his advice of embracing the commercial dairy farming, and now they are doing pretty well. And that is exactly what we are seeing happening in there. And today, those who are in that area, trust me, sure, have made money when it comes to their cattle, and that is actually the beauty of that area. It is also the activity that they are best known for. And this also leaves me with the question, what is your area known for? And as leaders and as people of that area, how can you be able to sort of utilize the available opportunity to make sure that also you become an area known for that particular activity? For instance, where now those who enjoy that activity wouldn't want to look anywhere, but also look into your area for that product in there. And that is actually what we are calling upon people to also interest themselves in. And we did see the Prime Minister, Robin Nabanja, commended the President for always guiding Ugandans on how to fight poverty through different wealth creation initiatives, such as commercial culture. And that is what we did see happening in there, where the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, thanked the President for his initiative of preaching wealth through commercial culture to Uganda. Now the Minister of State for Transport, Fred Byamukama, appreciated the President, that's for his visit and after launching the model, which also will be going a long way in promoting commercial culture, thus helping the farmers to create wealth in the area. And that is where the leaders also from that area were able to sort of appreciate the President, who actually did also take a tour in that area also already happening in there. Now the tour commenced at Kamanyire Demonstration Farm, that is owned by Minister Byamukama, and the farm also features activities such as zero grazing, piggery, and poultry rearing, where with this the President also took time to inspect the different components that is of the farm, also appreciating the dedication of Byamukama to comprehensive agricultural development. And one of the highlights of the tour was the pineapple plantation, where the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Maif, That is also Martin, also Maugara Boinduka, the State Minister also for Tourism, and members also were able and we are present to witness also what also happened in there. And really we hope at the end of the day that this also will be of great benefit, most especially the people of that area who also must be able to interest themselves in knowledge of agriculture. Because if you look at agriculture today, it's actually one of those sectors employing a number of Ugandans, both directly and indirectly. It's actually one of those activities said to be the backbone of this country, but are you into it? That is the question you should be asking yourself this morning, because if you look at some people out there, definitely they may not be in position to solely understand what this also entails. But I hope at the end of the day that this also will be bringing those tangible benefits at the end of the day, where people also will be benefiting from also really all these initiatives that will be also happening in there. And we hope at the end of the day that this also will be happening. And leaving that discussion aside, Ambassador Okul wrestled disarmed after also drawing gun at Lango clan leaders in a meeting, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening in the Lango sub-region in the northern part of this country, where dozens of the other clan leaders camped to hide under banana plantations as security personnel wrestled Uganda's former deputy ambassador, that is the US, that is Mr. Dixon Ogwang Okul, to disarm him after drawing a pistol at a meeting, and drama unfolded when Mr. Okul, who is currently serving as the Khartoum also as charged the affairs, stormed the meeting also at the Lango Cultural Center with these two bodyguards at around 1:37 p.m. One of the bodyguards also was holding a green plastic chair, and that is where we did see him also pulling out a gun. And upon arrival, dozens of people stood up and also surrounded Mr. Okul, seemingly with the intent to throw him away and out of the meeting, and was being attended by the Lango clan leaders and resident district commissioners from Lango sub-region, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there. The meeting also was chaired by Ms. Odotuka RDC, that is Mr. George Abdul, and attended by Kole Woman MP, that is Ms. Judith Aliek, and it was intended to also prepare delegates from Lango to participate in the Tekere Festival, set to kick off, that is in Soroti City, on November 26th of this year. However, the initially calm-looking women and men turned also chaotic at the presence also of Mr. Ogwang Okul, who also seated in front of them, made them feel uncomfortable, and elder clan leaders stood up shouting, "He must go." Okul, also Ogwang, must not be allowed to attend this meeting. After also a handful of peace-loving Lango Street also talked him to respect the elders, Mr. Ogwang Okul stood up and started walking away. However, after walking about 10 meters away, he drew a pistol and attempted to fire it, and that is where we did see also the elders taking cover, but it was just as he also held the trigger of the already cocked gun. 7 armed also police personnel pounced on him and rescued him on ground in an effort to disarm him, and the officers successfully disarmed him. And about 5 minutes, also after 5 minutes of struggling, and he was also immediately also apprehended and taken to Lira Central Police Station for questioning, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there, and quite unfortunate incident in there. And we hope such instances do not also be happening. Even if we have disagreements, definitely we are saying do not also have to take it personal. Even if we throw you out, please move away, because many times so there could be a reason as to why people do not want you in this meeting. But is it enough for you to pull a gun? Because at the end of the day, after ending somebody's life, just because of your anger or maybe shame, you are going to be paying huge amounts of money. You are going to be taken to prison. You are going to be taken to court, and that is how dangerous it is. Just like maybe if I told you he walked away, I really want to say, if I told you he walked away, this also wouldn't have appeared, and this wouldn't have also featured in here, and that would also be done. And Ms. Lillian Eyal, the RDC of Lira, said it had not been also the intervention of security personnel, something stupid, and this is where we did see if it had not been also as a result of also the intervention of security men, something stupid could have occurred at Lango Cultural Center on Sunday. And Mr. Ogwang Okul is the party also is a party in the conflict over Lango Cultural leadership, whose election of the Paramount Chief Onyachi was annulled by the High Court on October 31st of this year, and that is where we are seeing issues only emerging as a result of disagreements amongst the parties, and that is where we are still going to continue with the discussion. And Mr. Ogwang Okul is a party also in there. At the same event also nullified the election of the Gazette Paramount Chief, that is Dr. Michael Moses Odongo Kune, on grounds with the law. Accordingly, the court ordered the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, that is Betty Amongi, to regazette also the 94-year-old outgoing Paramount Chief, Mzee Yosam Odur, who abdicated also his position, and that is what we did see happening in there, but we did see when Justice Philip Odoki, the head of the court circuit, assigned by judiciary as a trial judge, delivered a verdict which ended up blocking the installation of Dr. Okune as the one Nyachi. Mr. Gwang Okul was part of the people who celebrated it in Lira City, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there. It means that he took part in also the affairs also of the leaders also in there. More than 90% of the clan leaders who attended the chaotic meeting on Sunday, supporters of Dr. Odong Okune, the former executive director, that's of Uganda Road Fund, and that is exactly what is happening in there. And remember, this is also of internal fights. Most of the times the result from power, because many of the times I've also interacted with leaders who actually came out and also told me, when you see a fight, in most cases, there are two things involved, either money or power. And in this case, I believe power is what is causing also the trouble also in there. But we hope, and we also want to thank security operatives for being vigilant and also for being serious also with their activity and for making sure that nothing bad happened. And in 2018, that is where somebody may be asking, who is Ambassador Gwang Okul? Ambassador Gwang Okul in 2018 was the State Department also of the United States of America asked him to return home over domestic violence, and he asked to immediately pack his bags, and he allegedly beat his wife, and that is what we did see him also being deported for. And before being assigned to America in 2010, Mr. Gwang served as the public prosecutor. That's at the Director of Public Prosecutions, and he got also at the top also of his legal course while serving as active also duty, and grew up also in extreme poverty in a rural also as a rural boy in Ayala sub-county in the President Day district of Kole district. And that is exactly what we are seeing also about this man. And Mr. Gwang holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from Makerere University, that is in Kampala, Masters of Administrative Science, Diplomas in International Relations, that is from Fairleigh Dixon University, TINIC, that is in TINIC, that's in the US, and also a specialized diploma in prosecution and diploma in laws from the Law Development Center, and that is actually, that means also he is a qualified lawyer, and he has over 20 years also the experience of national and international diplomacy. But what could have exactly caused this is what remains unknown. And he has been active in the national politics of Uganda, and was involved also in 1993, 1994, 1995 Uganda Constitution making process as a student activist, being also the then president of Uganda National Students Association, that's UNISA. From teenage years, Ambassador Gwang taught his fellow students to avoid violent school strikes, and demonstrated but showed them peaceful ways of negotiating issues with school authorities and boards to find amicable solutions. But now what has gone wrong? And later in life, he became a champion of peace and conflict resolution, becoming the first African to be certified also as an international conciliator, that is by the Institute of also for Christian Conciliation in the US in there. And that is exactly what we also are seeing about this man. That means generally has been a peace-loving person. But what could have caused maybe this rift in the later ages of also his life? Definitely this is what remains unknown, because if at all this is what Ambassador Okul could have done. Really, I want to say something wrong could have gone somewhere, and we hope also still peace also will be restored, and at the end of the day, such also the demeaning activities not also have to happen again. And that is exactly what we are seeing happening in there, and we hope at the end of the day, this also will not be able to go on as also planned in there. And that is where we're leaving that discussion aside and looking at some of the stories happening elsewhere. Police start vocational skilling for habitual criminals is another story we're seeing. And if at all you reach an extent of being called habitual, that means you are beyond also in there. Now, police have also asked the public to report criminals so that they can be rehabilitated by enrolling them on different government skilling programs while receiving, that is also the Biologoma police post, that's at Clock Tower in Kampala on Saturday. Mr. Richard Echega, the commander of Kampala Metropolitan, said former convicts who have served their jail sentences and returned to their community but also have failed to reform need to be cancelled and given also vocational skills to earn decent also life. And that is exactly what we are seeing happening in there, where police has also come out and also prompted also that they will be also undertaking this. Mr. Achega said they will also be guided by the President Museveni and the Inspector General of Police, who embraced their program, and this is therefore aiming to also really empower those perpetual or habitual criminals who are within the communities, and this time around they are arrested and taken back. After a few days, they are back to the communities and doing the same thing. This program is actually targeting them, and that means community members have to report this to police and also inform about their also characters. So they will be also undergoing also the part of these trainings. And now Saturday, Babs Charities, an Indian organization, handed over the Biologoma police post as a clock tower to the police, and the police post also was built by the organization at the request of the force to fight criminality in the area, and that is actually what we did see happening there. Mr. Martin Okoyo, the Kampala Central Police Division police commander, said the area where the newly built police post is located also has been one of the biggest black spots for crimes in the city, and that is actually what we are seeing happening in there. And now somebody maybe is asking what is the impact of all this. And he said in the recent construction of the flyover was curtailed by the activities of criminals who have also retreated to the city outskirts, and Mr. Koyo held the cooperation between the community and the police, which helped also in identifying the land to build also the police post and also the fund for constructing this. And we did see Mr. Jay Sai, the spokesperson of Babs Charities, say they established also the charity in 1907 to honor Lord Swamirayan. That's also, and they also have created 116 humanitarian services aimed at uplifting the quality of community life in areas where they operate, and that is exactly what we are following up on, and want to see how this, of course, will be ending. And at the end of the day, we want to see security improve in that area. We want to see how people, of course, will be also continuing to suffer, because if you look at areas of that in that location, most cases people are being also really strangled, where people are being grabbed, people's phones are being snatched, and that is exactly what we hope this time around the security is going to be improved on, and with the arrival of a new police post. Definitely this is going to be history. We would not also expect also the tendencies of the criminals also taking advantage of the security post. That is what we are going to be following up on, and we shall be checking on to see how this, of course, will be also ending in there. And that is where we're leaving that discussion aside and looking at the discussions also happening elsewhere. You will relate to a lot of issues also going to happen, and that is where we are now talking about issues of premature babies. And parents of premature babies seek more maternity leave days. This is another story we are seeing. And remember, according to the laws of Uganda, once a woman gives birth, they are entitled from workplaces for maternity leaves. And as Uganda joined other countries to commemorate the World Premature Day yesterday, parents of premature babies have appealed to the government to increase the maternity and paternity leave for the families, also to enable them also cooperate in there. And we did see also that also happening where Mr. Basilo Katerega, the preterm also parents network also did make that call, and he added also, we are requesting that days be extended up to 180 days to ensure that the mother is not also left also in a state where they have no choice between their babies and their jobs. And that is exactly what we also say employers must also be interested in, must interest themselves. And remember, the premature baby also take long to also grow. And the premature baby is one who is born before the 37 weeks of pregnancy, where today some children actually born as early as 7 months, 8 months, and some weeks. And that is exactly where we are seeing that happening. And that means these are actually premature babies. And we hope at the end of the day, we also really see this happening. And that is what we are keenly following up on. And giving us more leave days can be very helpful, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening. And remember, sometimes employers give only 3 months. But is it enough? That is for the premature babies. And that is exactly what we are seeing as a call made by relevant stakeholders in there. And remember, access to quality care everywhere, which they said highlights the stark global disparities in healthcare and calls for universal access to high quality care for preterm babies, regardless of their birth circumstances or location. And ministry speaks out and commenting on the proposal from parents. Dr. Charles Olaro, the director of curative services at the health ministry, said for mothers it might be very easy to move, but there is or even doubt whether fathers can be using also the 4 days appropriately to giving also them extra days from 4 to 30 days. There might also be a lot of challenges, but this can be discussed. And Dr. Diana Twine, the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Health, also said they are improving quality of access to health for babies that are born preterm. And this includes also the establishment of a neonatal intensive care. That is units also happening at the health facility incubators, and provision of other specialized services for the newborns also in Uganda, and that is exactly what we are seeing also as a result also of the preterms. And in Uganda, about 14% of all births are preterm. That means they are born below the 37 weeks of pregnancy, and this translates to about 200,000 premature babies born every year, and 13,000 die before they reach, that is their 5th birthday, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening there. Now, the premature babies die because of complications related to prematurity, and that is exactly what we are seeing. And Dr. Laro, on the other hand, said the major causes of premature birth in Uganda include malaria, hypertension, pregnancy, urinary tract infections, and diabetes. And he said also that there is need to increase prevention and also ensure antenatal visit. That is for the mothers to detect these also tendencies, because many of times people do not also have this, and they do not know where they're carrying premature or mature babies. It means they must also interest themselves in going for premature antenatal care and antenatal visits each and every time. Now, Save the Children in Uganda noted that there is need to raise awareness, support family also, and work together for future also, where every children also will be also safe in there. And that is where we hope, as a mother or as a person who has just realized that you are pregnant, please, let's make sure that we visit hospitals regularly for antenatal. But many of times today, people also resort to traditional birth attendants. That means they do not actually know whether they're carrying children who are normal or abnormal, and that is where at the end of the day they have complications. So to avoid some of these complications at later stages, let's ensure that we visit the health facilities as soon as possible. And according to government statistics, about 14% of all births are preterm, which translates to about 200,000 premature babies born every year amid high death rates among them because of limited care. And that is where, if at all, as a mother, you do not want to lose your child, that is what we need to do. And today, parents also of the premature babies are asking for the leave to be extended. And that is where somebody will be asking, is it enough? Should we extend them? And that is where some people also have been asking, can parents actually take advantage of this? And that is where at the end of the day, we hope this will be extended for the parents from 4 days, because many of the times people are just given 4 days at workplaces to also make sure they take care of the families. But are the 4 days enough? The proposal is also calling for the parents, most especially the male parents, the fathers, to be extended from 4 to 30 days. That means 30 days of taking care of your wife, enjoying your new also baby. And that is really quite interesting. And I hope at the end of the day, government also will be taking this proposal keenly, and to make sure also that people take advantage of also moving also with their families. And that is where we're going to be leaving also the discussion aside. And for those of you who are coming back from Nyeganyege, we also hope that also at the end of the day, you also do not join the crew of having premature babies. And that is really something which I want to say happened, and we did see also it ending, and we were able to sort of see pictures of that circulating on social media. And in Jinja, we did see that happening, and some people sort of moved from this side. And really, I want to say they must have had fun, they must have enjoyed also themselves, but we hope they must have enjoyed carefully, because many times also such issues arise where people really lose their lives after just few moments of enjoyment. And really, on a quite sad note, we also have had stories of people who have also had challenges in there. But we hope at the end of the day, nothing of that sort happens, and we must therefore enjoy responsibly in there. Because if you look at the pictures circulating on social media, you really realize that some people are actually right to fight also this initiative also of that what's happening in there. But we are keenly following up on, and we shall be letting you know of more discussions that also came from there, and because we did set also the ending, and we hope that also will be another discussion for another day. And really with that, we come to the end of this half of the hour. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, where we're live on channel 477 on StarTimes, on channel 0073 on Zuku, and 369 on Azam, where you will be in position to watch us each and every mornings, Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, with me, Farish Majid, where we discuss issues that continue to make rounds in your society, where we discuss politics, and also really give you what's happening in the current affairs world, because as West Nile Television, our number one mandate remains, first of all, to keep informed, updated, and in the know of what's happening in and across your society. And really that is the beauty of the show, where sometimes we bring guests with whom we discuss pertinent issues, and some of those issues that continue to make rounds also really in the country. And remember, MPOX is still with us, and today I do understand that there will be a training that's done by the Ministry of Health that is also train a number of stakeholders on also on how we shall be controlling ourselves from MPOX. And just a quick reminder, MPOX is still alive, therefore we must also take keen care of ourselves. And I will be letting you know in the last half of the discussions on how best we can be in position to protect ourselves against that disease that is common known as MPOX, as initially known as monkeypox, but the disease is actually called MPOX. That discussion will be coming on in the next hour of the show. My name is Farish Majid. Stay tuned as we get to you back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Look out for StarTimes Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTimes S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTimes S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTimes subscription. StarTimes Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back into the final half of the discussions, and it is a Monday, the 18th day into the month of November. In case you're just joining us right now, you're most welcome aboard. And our final destination, of course, remains 9 o'clock. And after 9 o'clock, that's when Fateh Manuel will be coming through with the news bulletin Liberty. And then after, we shall be having other programs also following in there. Not forgetting the Northern Request Hour, the first edition for this week. Also, we'll be returning back with Olivia UGMC and DJ Jero, who will be in here also to take you through with the program also where entirely it's dedicated to playing music from Northern Uganda. For those of you who love music from Northern Uganda, that is actually the program you must also interest yourself in. And thereafter, we shall be having the Lembangea news bulletin for the little speakers. That is also where you will be in position to understand what's happening in the best language that you do understand in there, and that is the beauty of it all. And other programs also will be following in the due course of the day as planned in there. But first things first, welcome back. We are back in the discussions. And remember, so many issues going to happen. And as we are returning back from the weekend, a lot of issues happened over the weekend in there. And I will be also letting you know. And these also were both good and bad, because on a quite sad note, we were able to see mother and the daughter also perishing in an accident in there. And I was able to talk to you about that story. And we were able to see one of the cultural meetings also ending in also what you call fear in there, where a gun was pulled out. All those also we were able to solely see that happening, and that is where at the end of it was very bad. But we hope at the end of the day that this also will be moving on very well in there. And as we move on now, but about the rider shot dead in Mitiana during police operation is another story which is also quite sad in there, where there was tragedy and in the tragic structure in Kabira Manyi sub-county in Busuju parish in Mitiana district, when a border operator identified as Sam Natubu was fatally shot dead during a police operation in the now the occurred as officers attempted to arrest a suspected robber in the names of Isaac Sendaula at his home, that's in Kakiri, that's in Mitiana district, and Natubu, who had also transmitted the police officers to the scene and was also a crime preventer, was killed when one of the officers allegedly also got gun allegedly discharged during a scuffle with the suspect also in there, and that is how he was able to end the life of a crime preventer in there. And according to residents, Sendaula was accused by his also charcoal business colleagues of stealing proceeds from their trade, and that is exactly what we did see. And the group also had earlier sought intervention from Manyi local council chairman, that's Yafe Sekabile, who referred the matter to Manyi police post. And when police also arrived at Sendaula's home to arrest him, he also reported resisted, leading to a struggle, during also which the gun also was triggered in there. And that is how Sechibale called on the youth to avoid violence and urged residents to observe law and order. And he appealed also to the government to increase security personnel in the area, citing issues of understaffed also police force. And the father of the deceased, Charles Kangara, blamed the police also for negligence, attributing his son's death to poor handling of operations in there. And he also criticized the youth, that's the local youth, for failing to engage in productive activities, which he believes also contributes to the rise in such activities. And Wamala Regional Police spokesperson, that is also Rachel Kawala, confirmed also that Senda was arrested, and she also said that she will face charges, including murder, and investigations to continue. And Natubu's body was taken to Manyi Manyi Health Center 3 for post-mortem examination, and the police also have assured the public that the case is being handled also with urgency to establish the circumstances of the shooting, and that is exactly what happened in there. And we hope at the end of the day that this also will be going on very well, and this also will be ending very well in there, because we want to see how this, of course, will be ending. We do not want to see how more lives also will be lost as a result of gun shoots in there, because many of the times people have lost their lives as a result of guns. And really on a quite sad note, that's what we have been seeing over the years. And we hope this also will need also to go on as we are still seeing happening in there. And that is where we're going to leave that discussion aside. And we hope this also will be also yielding fruits. But for now, for police, it's individual responsibility. The officer remains known, unlike in the previous years where the police force would be also taken to court. This time round, this man is going to be tried as an individual, and we hope justice will be prevailing for the suspect and for the person who is murdered, and for the suspect who committed the crime in there as well. And we hope the families, of course, will be compensated, and that's where we're leaving the discussion aside. And we hope at the right time also this matter also will be discussed in there. Now, one person has been confirmed dead and 29 others injured. That's in the Kamwengo to Fort Portal Road accident. And this is another story we're seeing where one person was killed and 29 others injured. That's in the Sunday morning accident. That is on the Kamwengo to Fort Portal Road in Kamwengo district, and that's quite sad. And we are seeing this on the morning papers. And the incident happened yesterday, and the accident occurred that's in the valley between East Rwenzori Diocese headquarters and Kamwengo Secondary School, when a fuso lorry, registration number that's UAT 531C, overturned after failing to negotiate the sub corner also in the area. Now the lorry was carrying 30 members of the Kamwengo Mobile Market Traders Association, that is to also enroll us to Karuge Town Council for their Sunday market, and these are actually people looking for ends to meet, and this is really quite sad. And this is identified as Derek, a resident of Rutomwa in Chitagwena district, who succumbed to injuries while being rushed to Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, and 3 others sustained critical injuries and are currently receiving intensive care, that is at various medical health facilities. And in addition to 26 individuals who suffered minor injuries are being treated at Rukunyu Health Center and Rukunyu Hospital, Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, and also Kamwengo Mercy Clinic and Padre Pio Hospital Health Center. That's actually what we did see, and according to an eyewitness, revealed at chaotic moments during the accident, and that's actually exactly what we did see happening there. Now the lorry was reportedly also overloaded with both passengers and goods, raising questions about its capacity and safety, and that is exactly what we are still following up on. I want to say this. Most of the times we see these vehicles indeed being overloaded, not only in Kamwengo. Even those who are applying the Arua-Terego route, most especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we see them going to the various markets. We see them. But in most cases, you realize these vehicles are also overloaded. And in terms of also the mechanical breakdowns, how safe are the people in these vehicles? How safe are they? These are things also the vehicle owners and the police also really must be able to interest themselves in finding out, because many times we see this happening, and that is exactly what we are seeing also in that area. And we hope at the end of the day that this person who died from Chitagwenda also rests in internal peace in there, and that is where we shall be seeing also really safety improved. Minister Kelo investigates illegal sale of government agro inputs, that is to Kenyan businessman. That is another story we're seeing, where the Minister of State for Economic Monitoring, Beatrice Akori, has said that her office is investigating circumstances under which government agro-processing inputs in the northern part of this country were legally said to be sold to a Kenyan businessman. And Akelo also, who called for emergency meeting Gulu with agro-processing stakeholders, is concerned that the government efforts to elevate poverty in the region are being undermined as some individuals are selling the agro-processing machines. And that is exactly what we are seeing happening there. But how can people sell the machines that are meant to benefit the poor of this part of the country? And the minister, who has been in the region to ascertain the usage of agro-processing facilities, said investigations have already commenced, and we hope those who sold the machines will be brought to book. And as she met the agro-processing stakeholders in Gulu, she also revealed that some of the facilities are not being also used for also their intended purposes. And Northern Uganda, the arable soil, which also the government wants to empower the farmers to produce food for consumption and export. But today, some of those also initiatives are being hampered. Now the Deputy Coordinator Operational Wealth Creation, Brigadier General Godfrey Mwanguzi, condemned the stealing of government agro-processing equipment, because this is taxpayers' money that was invested, and for also the perspective of the wealth creation. And we wonder as to why such also will be happening. And however, the farmers say the government did not also really do proper consultation while installing some of the agro-processing facilities. And that is why this could have also really failed in the Michael Kema, the chairperson of Paponia Growers Cooperative Society in Atiak, and the Amuru District solely says the government should prioritize mechanization, and that is actually what we did see this person making as a call in there. Now, Ruth Kashaka, the development officer in the Ministry of Local Government, wants every stakeholder be responsible, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening in there. Because if you look at northern Uganda, this is actually an area that for long suffered a lot of challenges, ranging from political instability, other issues also of poverty. Today we are talking about diseases. If you talk about northern diseases, in northern Uganda it is still a challenge. Poverty still remains a challenge in northern Uganda. So I think these government initiatives are actually meant to also make sure people move away from those challenges. But if at all, we also see government projects and government efforts. For instance, in terms of also making sure citizens get something to do are being undermined, then that is how very much unfortunate it is. But we hope at the end of the day that this matter is investigated and the perpetrators and the ones who committed these crimes also be brought to book. And that is how we shall be also be happy. And we want to see how, of course, government will be doing it in terms of making sure that these people who committed the crimes are brought to book in there. And that is why we're going to leave that discussion aside. Minister tips learners on relevant disciplines. The State Minister for Finance, Henry Musasizi, has emphasized the importance of studying fields that align with their four main sectors of the economy, including agro-processing, industries, ICT and services. And while addressing the congregation, who included students at the Bishop's Annual Appeal Fund, that's a Roshoroza Paris, where Musasizi also doubles as the Rwanda East Legislator, encourage the students also to reflect on how they choose subjects such as history or math can be applied to these sectors, and that is exactly what we did see also happening. And today, if you look at issues of career guidance, trust me, you read also most of the times our learners reach higher institutions of learning without also undertaking what we call career guidance. Our schools not do this very much. And I hope at the end of the day, issues of career guidance are actually very much key, because you see somebody studying a combination and you wonder what kind of maybe course is this person going to be doing at the highest institution of learning. And that is where the issues of career guidance are really very much also really low in there. And I hope at the end of the day that this also will be addressed. This is what also really our parents, the community members, and the teachers themselves must also really continue talking to the learners about, because issues of career guidance indeed has eaten up the region. And that's why we see people ending up in courses that are not out of their will. And that is really how dangerous it is. And this is one thing also which I hope will be also really very much important in there. And that is also in relation to what the Minister for General Duties and the Ministry of Finance, Honorable Minister Musasizi, also did make that call on. And the Minister also highlighted the significance of real-world skills such as time management, public speaking, and digital tools, which are essential for success in the students, also really with focus on developing these skills rather than also just memorizing the facts and formulas. And that is exactly what we did see happening in there. And according to Musasizi, it's crucial for students to think critically about how their studies can be applied to real-world challenges. And in addition to his advice, Minister Musasizi expressed admiration for the recent tamaking of Rushoroza Road, which connects Kabale Diocese headquarters to Kabale Katuna Road. And he attributed this also to the progress of the NRM-led government by the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for also making those strides in making sure that infrastructure development is actually a key concern also really, and one of those initiatives that also really be developed in there. And that is exactly what we did see happening in there. And we hope at the end of the day, this also really will be bringing a tangible also really benefit in there. And leaving that discussion aside, Shinyo-Chioji Church of Jesus hosts 115th graduation ceremony. This is also where we are seeing the Zion Christian Mission Center's 115th graduation ceremony, hosted by the Shinyo-Chioji Church of Jesus. Celebrated total of that is 1,628 graduates, a new record for the largest denomination graduation history. And among the graduates, we have 3,337 pastors, highlighting the wide reach and influence of the program. That is exactly what we did see happening in relation to what we did see in Arua City as far as the issue of fundraising for one of the churches, that is Ojulua Chapel, also was also in relation to that. And this is actually the beauty of it all. And we hope also this also facility will be done within the period of time. And that is why I want to also come up in place to congratulate whoever extended their hand in terms of donating, also in terms of also making money for this also church that has reached roof level, because we have seen also the church reach at least at a level where it is now ready for roofing. And personally, I did also take a walk to see how this also, of course, will be ending. But I hope at the end of the day that this also will be bring a good gesture for each and everyone in relation to what we is happening in there. And that brings us to the end of this morning also. But as we get to move on, I really want to say a lot of issues also get to move on. And over the weekend, we were able to see a diabetes walk. Do you know your diabetes levels? Do you know maybe your weight? These are things that we must also be able to trust ourselves in. But over the weekend, we had also one of those trainings that was on Saturday, aiming to also empower those persons with diabetes. It took place in Arua City and quite good. I want to also thank the organizers, that is of Leta NutriHub, our foundation, so that is being started by one of the ladies, a brilliant and vibrant lady from this region, the names of Deborah Letaru, and we hope such initiatives are actually quite good. We must sensitize people about health. Many times people don't know about the health sector. This is quite true. I don't know how often I actually go for tests. I only go for tests when I'm sick, which of course may be late, and that is why quite good initiatives of such caliber must always be appreciated and must also come up and also be undertaken, because if at all we're not undertaking this, then that's quite absurd. And that is exactly what we see happening, where people were also empowered about their diet, and this is also about their weight and how they can be able to control themselves in relation to this disease, and which I must say was quite beautiful, and therefore that is what we must also appreciate in there. And on Saturday still, we also did see one of the runs in Terego aiming to raise money for the girl child. Quite good, and these are quite good initiatives which we must also really appreciate at all times in there, and we hope you as a viewer takes advantage and also be part of such activities, because the money that is going to be generated from such activities definitely is channeled back in terms of improving on the health sector. And that is why, if at all we empower the girl child, then they will be in position to also see how best they can be also in position to take care of themselves at the right time in there. And that is where we hope at the end of the day that will also be quite well. And this is where I want to appreciate whoever was part of these activities. And yesterday we also did see in Arua City at least a run and walk, what we call a walk, that is against diabetes. Right from OPM, quite good. And as people who are always seated in the offices, you must always make a priority of walking, at least walking back home on foot. That is quite good, because many of the times you're sitting on border, you're sitting on your cars, you don't have time to walk, you don't have time to do exercise, and that is why walking becomes very, very much important. And from here, I want to assure you, I will be walking back home. If you see me walking on the road, just know that is exercise. It is actually what I must also encourage you to do every time. And every time when you have the opportunity of walking, please walk. It is not that you are poor, but sometimes people feel they cannot walk because others are going to look at them as poor people. It is not good. You must always walk as also you must also make that routine of doing exercise. If you can't run, please simply walk. That would also at the end of the day spare you from maybe contracting several diseases that are actually associated with weight, and that is where obesity is attributed as a factor, that is to the rising cases of diabetes. And that is where we're leaving the discussion aside. Remember, these issues were not only in Western Sub-region and across the countries and across the region. We did see Rotary Club of Chigo 7 donates scholastic materials worth 20 million to primary school, and that is what we did see. The Rotary Club of Chigo 7 Lakes Golf has donated scholastic materials worth 20 million to Kigo Prisons Primary School as part of their ongoing interventions to improve learning environment. Now the donation also really included 400 books, school bags, sets, and other essential materials aimed at supporting over 7 pupils at the school. And John Muchiri, the president that is of the Rotary Club, emphasized the club's commitment, that's to sharing resources and addressing the needs of the community, and that is how beautiful it is. And we hope at the right time also that we also extend hand to such communities and also such vulnerable members of the community. And that brings us to the end of the discussions, and now to look at what's happening in the world of sports. We had over the weekend the big league returning, and many people also were part of this quite good gesture in terms of wanting to also be part of the discussion. And I really want to assure you that Onduparaka Football Club was able to pick a crucial win, that's over Arua Hill in what we call the Northern Derby, and which something which I must say ended peacefully, and that is actually what we are looking forward to, and want to see how this, of course, will be ending. And at the right time, also really more details of what's happening in the world of sports will be coming through on the Wishu Time with Owen Zaga. But first things first, if I can briefly give you some of the results that we did see happening over that was yesterday, and we were able to see also that game also ending very well. And if you look at the results, somebody also will be interested in wanting to know how, or maybe some of those games that we in the 4 big league. I want to show you there was a game between Buhimba and Gaddafi, which of course Gaddafi was able to win by 2-0. Calvary, West Nile side, was able to beat Busoga United by 3-1. That was in Yumbe. Meanwhile, Tigezi Homeboys managed to pick a 1-0 win over that's Kataga. Maida at home lost to Ntugasi by 2-0. Onduparaka Football Club managed to pick that crucial win over Arua Hill. That was in the Northern Derby. Boma held to a goalless draw by that was Calvert in the last games, and that is actually what we did see some of the games so that we did see happening in there, and we hope definitely also you will be interested also in wanting to know how this game will end in there. And that's really the beauty of the weekend, because many times people also really spend the weekend in also really in very various ways. Others also really go for enjoyments, and that is how beautiful it is. And I really want to show you the Uganda Premier League is returning back on Wednesday, where we shall be seeing URA taking on Vipers in a class which I want to say is going to be competitive. Meanwhile, Lugazi also will be returning on the same day against Police Football Club. And on Thursday this week, we shall be seeing Bull returning in action. That's against Express, and those are some of the games that will be returning in the FIFA Big and the StarTimes Uganda Premier League, and that's where we shall be seeing all these games returning, and I will be important to also let you know how they will be, of course, ending. And the international friendlies are as well ongoing, and really so many things also happen in there. But the biggest and sad story was Uganda Cranes losing, that is South Africa, and somebody was able to ask if we named the stadium Mandela National Stadium, did we really expect to beat South Africa in a stadium that we named after their former president? And that is exactly what we did see happening in there. But of course the team already qualified. That means we are left with one game that will be up against the Central African Republic. We hope that this game also will be ending also very well in there, and that is where we are leaving that discussion aside. That game against Congo will just be for favor, and we hope Uganda picks a win against this game in there. And in the UEFA Nations League, we were able to see Belgium losing to Israel. Italy was able to also lose to France by 3-1, and this is some of the game that we did see. Meanwhile, in Group B, England also was able to beat Ireland by 5-0. Finland also lost to Greece. Austria was able to have a 1-1 draw with Slovenia, and those are some of the games that also which we feel you must also be able to know as more details of what's happening in the world of sport. Will be coming through from 2 to 3 p.m. For those who love sports, that's the program actually used, which you must also make as a must watch, as Owen Ezaga and Nina Suzy will be breaking down on some of the issues that happen in the world of sports over the weekend. With that, we come to the end of today's show. I want to thank you who has from the time we began until this hour of the morning. I want to say thank you so much. I'm stopping here until tomorrow.